And when you guys see, I mean, I don't know if you look back at the recording, but if you have, do you see it like in this gallery view, or do you see just me? The whole thing? Okay, cool. All right. So we have our 2 blocks today as options. And we're going to be working on shoulders, arms, well, the shoulder girdle, which includes some arms, back, chest. So let's begin in a tabletop. So you're, tumble, timber. So you're just gonna be on your hands and knees. And then take your fingertips, face them towards the long side edges of your mat. So your wrists are facing each other. And we're just gonna rock from side to side. Just a couple times just to get things going. And then turn your fingertips now, continue that turn so that your fingertips face your knees. And you can take them back as far as you need to if it's like a lot of pressure in your wrists. We're just trying to get a gentle stretch in the forearms and in the biceps. And then you're going to bring a soft bend to your elbows. And then straighten your arms. So it's a really, you probably don't even see my arms moving. It's really tiny. Bend and straighten just a couple of times here. And then take your hands regular, like a regular tabletop, and then widen your hands about as wide as your mat, or maybe even a little wider, so that your hands are a little wider than shoulder width apart. Then you're going to dip your right shoulder down, look over to the left, and then come on back to center, switch to the other side, and come on back, and right shoulder dips. So we're doing everything 3 times. Left shoulder dips. And we'll go one more time, right? And then left. And come on back to center. Hands come directly underneath your shoulders. And then we're going to send the right arm underneath your left arm and come on down to your shoulder and your ear. And just start to rest your head there. If you would like to set a block underneath your head to relieve your neck, I invite you to do so. We'll be here for a few minutes. You can relax the left arm onto your elbow if that feels better. And if you really want to make this passive, it'll just take a little bit of the intensity out of the shoulder, out of the back, but you can always slide back into your child's pose and keep your arms threaded like so to make that really passive. So either way is great, whatever you need. It's really checking in with what do you need tonight. You know, it's great to get a really intense stretch, but sometimes the body is just asking to relax and to restore, which means we don't pull the muscle to, you know, its furthest usage of units. If that makes sense. We're not getting the muscles to be taut, but in a relaxed position where the muscles are either stretching or working, or, you know, engaging, or meaning shortening. So they're not lengthening, they're not shortening, they're right in the middle, just relaxed. Maybe you'll try out both and see what it is that you need. The more we give our body what it's asking for, what it's truly asking for, the more ease and space we'll find in our day to day. And the more we can respond skillfully, because as we listen to our body, we are practicing to listen to our body, and then eventually master listening to our body. Noticing if your breath is shortened in any way. Nourishing your body with what it deserves. Breath, lengthening the breath without too much effort, just nourishing the body with breath. And then slide your left hand in front of your face if it's not there already, and then press it down into the mat. Reach your right arm up to the sky, and then back down onto the mat, and we'll simply go to the other side. And so sliding your left arm through your right and coming down to your left ear, left shoulder. Maybe your right elbow to relax a little bit more. Or maybe your right hand is pressing into the mat, so you twist a little bit further. It's whatever feels right, which is usually the first thing that comes to mind. And now that we've listened to the body, meeting it where it's at, meeting its needs, listening, take the time to celebrate what feels good in this position, what feels good about the choice of listening to your body. Like my side ribs twisting, stretching, lat stretching feels so good. It's important to take time to celebrate what's working, what's good right now. And perhaps taking an inventory of the body, just a quick scan, noticing where there's any tension being held. And then taking your right hand in front of your face, pressing it down into the mat, reach your left arm up to the sky, fleshing that out. A nice big stretch, and then left palm back down to the mat. And then sitting back onto your heels. And if you want to make this a little extra, you can always tuck your toes and sit back onto your heels, stretching the bottom side of your feet. And then we'll walk like a penguin. So it's the back side. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see. It's the back side of your palms come down to the mat. And I'm not just putting my fingers, I'm taking the whole back side of my palm down so that my forearm gets a nice stretch. And then I'm going to go off to the other side. So it looks like I'm walking like a penguin, is what I like to call it. Just 3 times on each side. Good. And then if you've had enough with your feet stretching, you can flip your toes out from underneath so your toes are pointed. And if that's too much on your knees, you can always sit on a block. And again, I'm going to face you now. I'm going to have my back facing you so you could see what I'm going to do. But you're going to take your right hand out, your palm faces back behind you, bend into your elbow, and then reach the back side of your hand, makes contact with your back, okay? And then if you can reach your left arm back. If you can, you're going to reach for your left bicep and hook. You use the elbow as a hook for your hand to just hang out on. Notice, so we'll be there for a few minutes, so just check in. If that's too much, you can always just have the backside of your hand like more to the center of your back, relaxing there at any amount, whatever feels right in your shoulder. And then notice wherever you land, if your ribs are sticking out because it's like your hand is like cueing your back to push forward. So just bring it back in, right? Not asking for a lot of core engagement here, just a neutral spine, okay? And then wherever your hand is on your back, if it feels okay, you can take your left ear to your left shoulder. Notice if you're leaning off to one side. Again, neutral, straight spine, just with the neck part of your spine, it's going to be bent, possibly, if that feels okay. And so this one might feel a little bit challenging, and challenge is okay. We just don't want to move over that threshold into overwhelm, right? Internal rotation can be challenging. A little discomfort is okay as long as it feels right, right? Right doesn't always mean pleasure, right? Just because something feels good or tastes good or, you know, you like it doesn't always mean that it's right. But if you do that deep listening to your true essence, you'll know what is right. And the more that we can do deep listening and familiarize ourselves with what our body says is right and not right and follow that lead, then we start to develop a confidence in our and trust in our judgment. So let's release that. And you can take your right arm forward and, externally rotate and internally rotate your shoulder by flipping your palm up and down just to get any kinks out that might have developed from holding that. And then we'll switch to the other side. This side might be completely different. So taking your left hand now, back of your hand, making contact with your back, and then going in as far as feels right. Maybe holding on to that right elbow, maybe just hanging out on your back. And again, you'll look out for the ribs popping, take it back in. And if it feels okay, you'll take your right ear to your right shoulder. Checking in to see if you're leaning off to the right. And then you're bringing it back in. Check in, see where you might be gripping. Notice quality of thoughts. What you might be thinking about. And then come on right back over here. As you release your arm, taking it forward, flipping palm up and down, just release the shoulder, allowing the whole arm to turn with it, not just the palm. And then we're going to come onto our back for a banana stretch. Kind of release our legs along with it, but also release our lats. So lying flat on your back, spread your ankles as wide as the mat. And then we'll take everything over to the right. So left ankle moves towards the right ankle, head and hands and shoulders to the right as well. And if it feels good, you can take your left ankle on top of your right ankle. You can hold on to your left wrist with your right hand and give it a little tug if you would like, or just hang out here. You can also grab opposite elbows overhead if that feels good. If all of those don't feel right to your shoulder, you can always drape your arm across your chest. Let it hang out there. Especially if you're not able to get your left shoulder flat on the floor or on the mat. And checking in with your breath, seeing if there's been any change with positioning. Nourishing your body with well-deserved breath. And then take your upper body back to center. Slide your left ankle all the way back to the opposite end of the mat. And then move to the other side, right ankle to left ankle. head and shoulders to the left. Maybe slide the right ankle on top of left. Finding your way with your arms. Now we'll take the upper body back to center. Ankles nice and wide for just a moment, feeling straight here. And then one knee at a time into your chest. Rocking side to side. Massaging your low back out. And then you'll turn to either side, or from where you are, you can simply just roll over onto your belly. I'm going to flip over so there's a better view for you guys. And then you'll just make your way into your downward facing dog just for transition. From here, going into pigeon on the right side. So right knee to right wrist, right ankle to left wrist. Sliding the left leg back, and then come on down to your elbows. And just like the position we found earlier in tabletop, just in pigeon this time. Straighten your arms and then thread your left arm underneath your right. Come on down. Just getting a back stretch while we're at it here. And if this is just sending your body way to the left, right? We're not like we're not doing a twist here. We're just, again, stretching the back side of the left shoulder blade. So if you're really being sent over to the left, then just come back to regular pigeon. If it's just a little bit, you can try giving yourself a self adjustment by sending your right hand onto your right thigh and then pressing yourself open into a twist just to help square the hips. And then you can let it go, and you can do that as many times as you feel is necessary. You can come back to where you were. And pressing your right hand into the floor. Slide your left arm out from underneath and make your way back into your down dog. You can do a little bit of a walk here just to release that. And then we'll go to the other side. Left knee to left wrist, left ankle to right wrist. Come on down for just a moment. And then we can move into that whenever you're ready, straightening your arms and sliding your right arm underneath your left shoulder. And again, assessing here. You need to do that self-adjustment, pressing your left thigh down with your left hand. And you can release and do that a couple more times. And letting that go. Just hanging out here. And if that doesn't feel good or feel right, you can just move into your regular pigeon. Pigeons are always good to do, even when they're regular. I think we can always use a pigeon. And then pressing your left hand down to unthread your right arm. And we'll move back to down dog just to release the left leg. Walk it out a couple times. And then take your knees down to the mat. Have your blocks nearby and face the long side edge of your mat. And you'll start with your blocks on your right side. So your right leg will be bent, your left leg will go long. Nope, opposite, I apologize. Left leg is bent, right leg goes long. So get a little bit of a hammy stretch while we're at it. Here's what I found with the blocks, but again, this is my body, so I'll give you a few options. I have my first block on level 1, shortest height, and then I have my second block on the highest height, and I'm placing them pretty close to my right hip so that I can nudge the tall block just underneath my right shoulder. Like it's basically making contact with my scapula. And then I'm going to support my head with my right hand. You can stay right here, or you can even go a little bit further and take your left hand cupping the nape of your neck and take your bicep close to your ear right here. Just watch that you don't start to cave in here, right? The whole idea is to keep your heart open here. Okay. Other ways you can do this, if you're like, okay, I don't feel anything right now in my side body or in my left shoulder, left tricep, if you're not feeling anything, you can try to set these blocks down lower and maybe out a little bit further so you can get into that bend, but you want to keep that left glute down on the ground. So if you do that, you might even just set your elbow down onto the blocks, support your head with your hand, left palm to the nape of your neck again, and elbow in close to your face. So we're getting the lat to stretch, okay? Another way that you can do this is taking your right hand to your left knee and then reaching over for a side stretch, right? So you might play with all of them. You might come up with your own variation with blocks and see what feels best in your body and what your body needs right now. And especially notice if you're like holding, gripping in any areas. You might want to try another variation. You should feel your whole side body here opening from your left elbow, down the back side of the arm, shoulder, the lats, the obliques. You can play with the heights of the blocks. And sometimes it might just feel good, like if you can, I don't have that much range of motion in my shoulder, but you can like maybe drape your arm over your head. But I need a little assistance with holding on to something to get my arm to come down close to my head. And then we'll release that. So you can hold on to your left knee with your left hand to aid you up if that was a lot for you, like it was for me. And we'll switch sides. So taking your blocks, the opposite side, and trying first what you did on the first side. And if that doesn't work, then you can play with it, playing with the blocks once again. So noticing what works for you. And another one that I tried also was like having the blocks on top of my thighs, elbow, my thigh, one thigh, elbow on top of the blocks, right? Many different things here. Just gives you a little more height there. Brings the floor a little closer to you. Just making sure that you are keeping your right glute down on the ground. And that right bicep is close to your ear. Breathing into your side body. And just watching as we're here for some moments that the body doesn't start to cave forward. Right? Really leaning back, keeping the heart open. Keeping your breaths nice and long. And then again, you'll use that right hand to the right knee to aid you up. And then we'll move into our last position. So blocks out of the way. And you come onto your belly. Take your left hand out directly from your shoulder. Make sure that it's in line with your shoulder. It's not above your shoulder. If you know that you're tight in your shoulder, then you'll bring that left hand actually below the line of your shoulder. And then start to turn over to your left side body. So a few options here. You can stay just like this and allow your right foot to hang out behind your left leg. If you need less of an angle on that opening, you can bring both knees up towards your chest and hang out here. So just finding what works with your body. And if you need more, you can always have your arm actually in a right angle. So while the hand is now above your shoulder, but at least your left elbow is in line with your shoulder, right? Then you start to turn onto that left side body and really open up the pec in the front of your shoulder. And that's just for you open people. I can't even demo it for you. You can always take a block underneath your head if this is uncomfortable in your neck. As we start to reach the end of the hour, noticing the quality of thoughts. Just noticing, not wronging them, not fixing them in any way. Just what's here. Noticing the state of your nervous system, your whole system. And noticing the state of your heart. And then rolling back onto your belly, we'll simply move to the other side. And so again, making sure that right hand doesn't move above your shoulder. Really important here to keep the shoulder safe. It can go below, but it should not go above. And you'll roll onto your right side body. And finding what you need here. Maybe that left foot steps back behind. Maybe you take your knees into your chest for less of an angle. Simply being with your experience and breathing with your experience for these last few moments of practice. And rolling back onto your belly. Hands underneath your shoulders, press up to a tabletop just to relieve the back. And we'll take the next 5 minutes to transition. So, bathroom break, getting your little bed ready, your yoga mat ready. Maybe some of us will leave. Thank you, Anya. All right. See you. So let's see. It is 5:57. So 6:02. See you then.